That's Monday Night Wars number 2. I don't know about you guys. That was a great night of arm wrestling.
It was really exciting. I kind of hated to referee that because you kind of miss it when you're refereeing. I'd rather have been sitting back in the audience and watching it because there was a tremendous amount of good pulling right from the very get-go with Terrence and Christopher.
Yes. They did a great job.
They did a great job to start it off.
Great job. Very
every
close,
match
very
was
close. Yep.
all the challenge matches were unbelievable, tough pulls. And then you get into the four-way, and that was another great set of pull. I mean, Brendan didn't look like he was going to do anything. Then he comes back, and he works his way right into the finals.
He looked like he improved as he went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it took some getting used to for that grip.
A little bit of rustiness there, too, and then he took off.
Rustiness, what he was saying when I was talking to him afterwards, a little bit of ligament tendon problems, but he's pretty hurting right now, that's for sure. But
I'm sure there's a few guys hurting right now.
Christopher Scott told me that was the first time he was able to beat Terrence left-handed.
Really?
So they had just an absolute war at the table. It was a great match to start the night off. Then we move on to what I did not think would go a straight-up power match between Ryan and Wade.
Exactly.
No, and there's Ryan again posing off camera, of course.
Yes. Mr. Wonderful.
I thought Mr. Wonderful, yeah.
I thought the minute that Wade stopped him, that would be it. It would have went to Wade would have taken him. I know he wouldn't have walked through him, but I didn't expect Ryan to pull through him like that.
No, not with that type of power. We thought, when Artie and I were talking about it, and you and I talked about it before, if Wade was not able to catch him, it was going to be overquick speed.
Yeah. And it didn't happen that way at all.
Ryan didn't. He only flashed him the once.
Yeah.
He didn't have to rely on the speed tonight.
Yeah.
And that surprised me too.
Yeah.
Very much.
It's good for Ryan.
Yeah.
I mean, we got nationals coming up here, and he's improving by leaps and bounds.
My goodness, absolutely.
He's going to be somebody to watch out for in that 187 pounds.
His quickness is there, and now his power's catching up.
Too.
I think guys are going to, even guys locally, are going to underestimate actually how strong that guy is.
Yeah.
So then we moved on to your guys' book or lack thereof match.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
There's all different types of hooks.
Rick was Rick was right.
All different types of top rolls.
That was a hook and top roll.
All different types of hooks.
It's all right. I got to work on more stuff. Rick just exploited his real power is this way, and that's my weakness, and he exploited it, and I couldn't deal with it.
Well, I tell you what.
I complained about it, but I couldn't deal with it.
Not to give you your due, because I didn't think hooking is not your strong suit.
No, it's not my forte, but
not where you go.
But you know what? It wasn't hooking. I don't want to go on that, but Rick will admit finally, I know he will, that he wasn't really hooking. He started, his wrist was hooked, but there was no hooking this way. It was all, and his power that way, I could not deal with it. I couldn't deal with it. I tried, and just couldn't.
Okay, well, you know what? We'll have to go with that then.
I couldn't beat him.
We'll let the people decide.
Yeah, they can decide, and it's.
Some people said I should have just walked away from that kind of pulling.
They can say whatever they want,
but I'm not going to walk away. Oh yes, absolutely. Honestly. And you learn, you go on.
We're sitting here and we're still laughing.
Oh my goodness!
You know what? Whatever. I mean, I thought this is what you do for fun.
Rick knew. Rick knew, I think, and he had a game plan, and he followed through.
He saw weakness, and he thought he knew how to exploit it. No one else believed him. Honestly, nobody believed that he could.
I think I was getting a few sympathy votes on the message board now.
I think he got his whole family to vote for him. He was calling long distance to people out in Alberta.
It was good. Well, I didn't even vote. I'm glad. I would have looked really stupid. I would have voted for myself after that.
Okay.
I voted for myself.
Did you? I didn't even vote. But no.
Otherwise, it would look really bad on the message board. I was getting pounded in the vote.
Well, I mean, I thought. Well, I knew you had something up. I knew you had something that you thought you seen a weakness because you arm wrestled Mark and lost 6-0. Didn't look real good doing it. I arm wrestled Mark and won 6-0. All hard pulls, immensely hard. And then when you challenged me, I thought that what's he doing? Like he must have found something. And then all the head games on the internet, but I was still concentrating. I was concentrating on what I had to do. I just couldn't deal with his pressure, kind of this way pulling backwards. I felt like
the main reason I saw that I knew I had to give some back pressure in there is because I watched the way you cranked, and you used your hand to crank down this way. And I knew all I had to do was stop that cranking. Okay. Not all I had to do, but I knew I had to stop that cranking motion, because it was that cranking motion that was doing Mark in. The way you were cranking down this way, and that's what was taking Mark right out. Every time when you were bringing him over and you were cranking down this way, and I could just see Mark turning right over. So I knew I had to stop that cranking motion.
And you're very powerful to stop that. That's your.
Well, that's why I thought. That's why I figured I had that to be able to stop that.
So what did I have to do?
Don't bother going against me again.
No,
I was just wondering, since that's over with, what did I have to do?
You had to get around better on me. You had to use your hand more. You weren't
like
using
the first couple. I felt like I was turned a little bit under,
but you weren't using your hand near enough because you were hitting sideways, and I was just sitting there, and when you would make a big smash, your hand was flipping back, and that was without me even making a move. And that's.
Well, we could tell, obviously, and the crowd couldn't, though, because they thought Rick was top rolling you out. So I could actually watch you hitting with your arm and leaving your hand. So it wasn't so much. I mean, Rick may have had pressure there on your hand and wrist. However, it's you're flipping yours back
because he's hitting with this part of his arm here. Yeah. He's not hitting with his hand. He's hitting with this part of his hand here. And any upward pressure at all will just flip the wrist back. When you're just hitting with that, you got to be able to hold that hand in there when you're making that sideways movement.
Okay, so that's that. So now then we get into
the four-way.
Oh,
that was
my goodness. Yes.
You know what? I called it wrong.
Yeah, so did I.
I thought for sure it was going to be Will.
Well,
yeah, I had one of the two.
I had one.
I had Eddie in there. I train with Eddie, and his hooking is very powerful. And I thought the new starts for the four-way would give him a little bit of advantage. But I also thought Will would be... if Will would have been in the Army there,
Will wasn't.
He was very upset.
Starts.
No, and I think he. Will's an awesome arm wrestler, and I don't think he was really ready for them types of goes.
Yeah.
Plus,
I mean,
he'll work on that.
Yeah.
But like I said to Scott, a monster trainer is going to train even harder now.
Yeah. You know what? This is the first time we tried with this set grip. Maybe we have to make a couple modifications.
I think there has to be a few, because it's funny because every one of the guys, I'm not talking about just the guys that lost, but I mean even Eddie said he didn't really care for this type of setup, which really surprised me. Normally you never get a complaint on the guy that wins.
The guy that wins, yeah.
But Eddie didn't care for that setup at all.
It did do what I think you and I both thought it would do.
We wanted to cut down on
the screwing around before they're ready to go.
Yeah.
The guys just come, they get settled in. There's not a whole lot of hand movement. Let's get the match started as fair as we possibly can. And now, if we need some modifications, that's great. But I thought it was a pretty good effort for the time.
That's the way it's being done.
Well, somewhat. We've changed a few things. I think they played around with it probably a whole lot more, so they might be a little more adept at getting it set up.
But it's very fair. It's a very fair way, I think.
It's not unfair to any of the other guys.
I think it was fair.
They seem to think that
it's close to a referee's grip.
They seem to think that whoever grabbed first had the advantage, and every one of them said that whoever grabbed first had the advantage.
Maybe so.
Okay. So if that's how they all felt, then maybe there is something.
That was the only thing. Yeah, they seem to think that whoever took the first grip. I mean, I kept changing it up. Who was taking the grip first? So I wasn't every time that somebody come up, and if something happened, I was switching back and forth. But
is it possible for both people to close their hands at once?
We may want to look at that.
Yeah, we may. We'll just have to play around more and practice, and see what actually does work better.
Yeah,
and that may not be a bad thing.
And
it comes down. Okay, close your hands, ready to go.
I noticed too on the Northeast board that's what was brought up, and that's what I thought would be a better way. But they were using it down there; it seemed to be working. So.
Well, I know they're going to use it at the NAL in Denver, are they not? They're using that set grip.
Are they?
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm not positive, but I do think so.
It makes a big difference, too. They've been using it for a while. The guys know what to expect. These guys just kind of walked in. They knew it was coming, but they had no idea really what it was about.
No, I've never seen it before.
I think going into practice and going in practice in this way would make a huge, huge difference. So it wouldn't matter who grabbed first. If you're practicing this, okay, I mean, if I think that that the guy that grips first is going to have the big advantage, well, we got to figure that out. So, every time I go to practice, okay, you grip first. I want to figure out what I'm doing wrong, why you're getting a good grip and I'm not.
Sure.
And that's what the guys need to work on. working at gripping first, gripping second, and going from there.
Not to change the subject, but I want to ask something, Rick. How do you get so strong this way? What do you hammer curl in the
You
gym?
have to read the training trips in the newsletter.
What do you hammer curl at the gym one-handed?
70. Well, just on a preacher, 75.
And what can you do? Like
for one hand rep, I don't know. No idea. I mean, up to 75 for reps.
Really?
That's over. It's not even a preacher. It's kind of more out like this.
Yep.
Where we're over.
Do you fully extend or just?
Yeah, I go right down.
Really?
I'm using
Preacher bench?
No, I'm using just a bench that'll fold back. You know what you do incline dumbbells on.
Okay.
So my arm is extended this way and go down till the dumbbell hits the.
All the way down.
All the way down to the dumbbell hits the thing. The only thing you got to really watch that is really tough on the wrist.
So
because your wrist is stretched out so far when you're doing those.
Yes, so that helps the wrist too then.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
But also back. People don't believe it. But
oh yeah, I
use a lot
believe that.
Back.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I could see that.
I love doing back too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
but in the challenge matches tonight, Eddie winning will give him a big bunch of confidence going to the provincials.
Yeah, going to
provincials. For sure.
And because he thought he was coming here to fight for second. We talked on the way down.
Well, he even said so after we interviewed him after his matches that he thought maybe he could get second.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And
he proved that he's more than just a maybe.
Well, it goes to show you on any given day, anything can happen.
Yeah, well, I definitely did not expect Will to finish fourth.
No.
For the 4 people.
No.
I don't think anybody did, including Will. He was pretty disappointed.
But I mean, we mentioned at the beginning how close these guys were, and anything can happen when you get these.
Yes.
I mean, we've talked about other, four ways too, and the same thing. I mean, when you got four guys that are really close, one guy could come up very easily 0-3.
Oh,
and he
definitely.
And you throw them at the same guys another day, and he may be the winner.
Well, and if we ran these same four guys next week, we may have a totally different result.
It could be totally reversed.
Yeah.
Could be,
could turn right upside down.
Yeah.
So, again, I thought it was a great lineup, a great night of arm wrestling. The next one we got to look forward to is June 18th. So far, we only have a couple of challenge matches lined up. We've got Chris Scott going against Sean Ross.
Wow.
Powerhouse. I think that'll be a good one.
It could be a real good
I think
one.
giving Chris 6 cracks at Sean could make a big difference.
And then we've got Ryan Purdy going against his brother Matthew Purdy.
It's funny, too, because you wouldn't think if you watch Ryan, and Matthews never really showed in the placings, but boy, them guys are close.
Ryan. You know what? They
Matthew
were
comes
close.
on.
They were close. It's going to be very nice to see with improvements that Ryan has made to leap in bounds if his brother has done it too.
Yeah.
But just recently at the Atlantic, so Matthew
they were very close.
Matthew can give Ryan everything.
Yeah.
But you know what? The power now is behind the stop.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing for Ryan. Ryan needed to know that himself, too, I think.
I think
well,
a lot
of that is, too, is you have to practice that. I mean, you get your big smash, that's great. But if somebody stops you, you got to be able to back that up.
Yeah. And I think when someone's used to smashing everyone, and all of a sudden they get stopped, they're like, oh, my God, what do I do?
Yeah.
Well, tonight he proved.
Yeah, he knows what to do.
Yeah, because Wade is definitely no slouch.
I'll tell you right now, Wade is
himself.
one of the toughest guys sitting down there in that losing position.
Yeah, and he don't ever give up. And he did that to Cody King, losing the first 2 and then winning 4 straight.
And then coming back on it.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a great matchup as well. Well, guys, I know it's getting late, and we all got to get out of here. But thanks again. It was another great night. And
very good night.
We'll see you all next time.
Okay.